welcome to the Cha Rule Show. This is a cup of coffee with Charles. Just kind of sitting here sipping on some scissor. No, it's not spiked. Actually, I've cut back tremendously on alcohol. Barely ever drink it. Once every couple of months or something, glass of wine. But anyway, thank everybody for joining. Appreciate you. We're going to kick this off. So, Professor Band 8, you says, do you have a birth certificate and a social security number? Absolutely not. The state created, my mom pledged the, the application for the birth certificate when I was born, and then a corporation was created from that process, okay? So that is a state creature, ens legis is what it's called, creature in law. That is the state's property. That is something that they created. It's theirs, not me. It's not mine. The Social Security number is the same situation where she applied for a tax identification number for that corporation, and that corporation has a tax identification number. And even on your card, or the Social Security card, if you look on the back, it says it is property of the Social Security Administration. It is not yours if it's lost. The Social Security number belongs to the Social Security Administration. The corporation, the U.S. citizen, and the birth certificate and all that belong to the state, and none of that is you. It's just a tool that you can use should you want to do that type of business. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the follows and likes. I appreciate everybody. Anyway, it's a beautiful Friday, even though it's really cloudy out. It's my kind of weather, kind of room temperature, but I wish it wasn't raining so much. So, Professor Band, do you access your Cesta K Vi Trust? All the time. Every time you do almost anything, any type of banking, any type of commercial activities, when you start the driver's license trust, or you do the Social Security, you're engaging publicly in allowing the agents that are authorized to do so access to the private side of the equity accounts, and you always have to use agents. That's how it's all been set up. You can't, unless you go through the lengthy process of doing it through the back door, which is on some of my videos. It takes a lot of effort, time, and study and knowledge to be able to operate privately through the DTC, which is what I'm starting to lay some of my videos a little more on. I have a few on discharging debt and whatnot that can help as well. I've created a lot of videos, okay? I've been somewhat shadow banned and throttled down tremendously since my release of it. Was almost like the chemtrail video kind of just shut me down, but it is what it is, so it's not my platform. Professor Band, are you a state national? A state national is a corporation that I can use. I have expressed one of those. Amongst others, I have many trusts, I have many corporations, many businesses that I can do business with should I choose to do so. And it's basically, yes, Limo King, or is it Slimo King, or is the $ sign S, Limo King 05? They're all vessels in commerce, okay? You can look at them commercially like that. You can look at them naturally as just corporations, corpse iterations. They're dead entities that you can do business with, and a lot of people get frustrated with the tax system and the IRS and all that, but they're just neutral third-party accountants, and it's all depending on how you do business, whether or not you're taxed. If you don't want to get taxed, then don't engage in for-profit in a federal zone using Federal Reserve notes. The U.S. Corp is a corp for all things that deal in banking. If you look in the 28 U.S.C. 3002 subsection, what is it, 15A or something? It's the U.S. is a corp for everything banking, any financial transactions, that's securities, that's and it's a very powerful corporation because it basically is the money reserve for the entire world. And it seems as though the monetary system is changing, and it's going to be changing soon. I just don't know which direction it's going to go in. But that's one of the reasons why I haven't messed with any of the cryptocurrencies, including the fact that it has like an 80% fail rate. So I hope everybody's enjoying their Friday. This live video will be on my YouTube channel. The audio will be in my Telegram group. I have playlists to help re-educate everybody. I have an auxiliary website with information to help. Everything has exclusive content depending on where you go. All my social medias are linked on my profile page of TikTok. if on my website if you want to go browse around that. Now, Professor Band, is David Straight someone I should listen to? Would you recommend? Yeah, David Straight is very knowledgeable. He's been around a lot of different processes and very well learned and studied. He's one of the many gurus that charge for services. I don't even know if he's out of jail or not. I wouldn't listen to him when it comes to traveling. He did talk about the do not detain list like many other mentors do, but he's somewhat confused on it. I actually did the research on it, made a video on it, because even though you are, even if you're on your citizen is on a do not detain list, police will still arrest you, and depending on if it's Homeland Security or they reach out to the FBI, depending on what you're involved in, they could say release you because they're involving you in large investigations, and they don't want like a traffic violation to hinder anything or something like that. So those are the lists that you really don't want to be on, the do not detain lists, because even the diplomatic immunity, they still get tickets, they still get traffic violations, they still can get deported, they still can get arrested, they still can get beat over the head or shot or whatever. It's not an exclusive, all encompassing, you can do whatever you want type thing. And that's one of the things that a lot of these gurus give misinformation on, is that they're going to put you on some list where you're just untouchable. The truth is that we're all sovereign. We're born sovereign, and it's up to you. You have the unlimited ability to contract, and you can reach and do anything you want through your minds and your consciousness, through the thoughts and everything that you emanate outward. So thanks for the following, Rare Gem, much appreciated, and thanks for the shares and likes. Professor Ban, how did Trump's ear heal in record time, warp speed? There's all kinds of rumors that it's all staged, and I almost look at, whenever the public mainstream media tells you to look left, you should look right, because they're basically misinformation informants. And I've even listened to reporters that said that their handlers don't allow certain things to come out, because you got to look at all the corporations are a triangle in the corporate system, where a very few elite certain amount of people that control all the big corporations, your BlackRock, State Street, all that type stuff. The people on the board and the top, they get to dictate and make decisions. Okay, so when a company is owned by somebody, they get to determine and dictate what happens with that corporation. And the people at the bottom are compartmentalized ignorance. I'd call it compartmentalized ignorance, which means basically they're there and they do their little job and they have no clue what happens up above them. They just hear orders that come down, and they do what they're supposed to do because they're just getting a paycheck. They show up to work and then leave. But the people at the top of the boards get to actually control the corporations. And when you look at, somebody broke it down where like all the corporations are kind of owned by the same people at the very top, and they all have invested interest with people on boards of all the other large corporations. So it's like an endless cycle of continuously trying to do things that improve the quality of corporate interest nonstop. It's never for the people. It's always about corporate greed, and that usually takes over. And that's why I like nonprofits so much, because the system is very honorable. And guys, it took me a long time to come to that grasp of realization, but when you look at everything on a very big, high level, it's an honorable system. Of course, nothing is perfect, okay? But if you take the time and effort to learn and study and be able to see the forest through the trees, you can see that it's somewhat harmonious as our public servants work for us. You can use the court systems to do your will. You can use the police to do your will. If you're not out there being a belligerent in combat and enemy status, then you're basically on the right side of where you want to be. If you don't want to be a citizen at the bottom that's just working 9 to 5, running around the hamster wheel all day, because that's where all the main corporations have been designed to keep us at. They want to keep us down where you can barely make enough money to rub together at the end of the day, and it's just hard to get out of that system. But the cool thing is that we're already out of the matrix, which is wild. A lot of people, they start this journey, they start becoming awake, they go through different emotions. Everybody goes through kind of an upset stage where they're like, dang, I can't believe that, the U.S. citizen is a corporation, and, they learn that money's a fraud, and it's all, they go through different stages. But when you're able to look at it on a big, high level, it's pretty harmonious, if as long as you're coming from peace and love and harmony, and you can see the big picture. And that's how it's kind of established. It's established to keep the people that don't care, because barely anybody wants to be responsible. It's just, it is what it is. I talk to thousands of people. I help thousands of people. And the moment that I try to help anybody beyond the fire that's getting them to jump, to try to do something above and beyond to get them to like be more enlightened, or just try to go beyond dealing with the immediate imminent problem that they're having, they're done, because that's all they care about. They just have a certain little issue, and they don't want to go any farther than that. Thank you for posting Tap the Screen. I much appreciate it. I'm already at 1,000 likes, and I've only been on here for 16 minutes, so y'all are tapping that screen. I really appreciate it. But the truth is that individually, we're all smart, we're all sovereign, we're all free. We have the unlimited ability to contract. We're able to change the entire earth with our consciousness, coming through unity and love, and through all three of the lights, the natural, spiritual, and commercial lights. And the systems that are in place are gates and fires that are meant to keep us from finding the true creators in unity. And you have to take the time and effort and knowledge to break through all of that, spiritually, commercially, and naturally. Most people never go beyond the natural realm. They don't know anything about spirit. They don't care about spirit. All they care about is money and worrying about nature. And that's how the corporations were set up to establish, to keep us in locked cages mentally. Even though, once you could, like, full circle, I went through a long trial period where I was trying to figure out what the U.S. citizen was. I tried to capture it. I tried to dock it. I tried to tap into it. I tried to do all kinds of things. And it took me a very long time to figure out that it's just a tool that you can use to do business with, should you like. And depending on how you do business, you don't have to use that entity. You can dock it and never use it again. Many people I know of just put the U.S. citizen on the shelf. They don't use it. They're not taxed. They're not have to do anything with it, because it's a state's creature, and they allow you to do all kinds of things with it, and it's your choice. Or you can create all kinds of entities that are outside of U.S. jurisdiction, inside of U.S. jurisdiction. You can do almost anything you want with your ability. And we're not taught this on purpose. They don't teach everybody this stuff in school, because they don't want people to be very well educated, free, critical thinking people. They want everybody to be basically thinking that they are accidental monkeys that are spinning on a ball aimlessly in space with no point, no mission, no reason. All right, Lemon King, true, yep. Grind D until you are goals. grind until you are goals. What's up, man? Talk that DTC talk. Yeah, man, sure. What you want to know? I mean, ask any question you like. I have a video on discharging debt, and I've put out 2 DTC videos, along with a plethora of other informational videos to help people and enlighten them on their paths and journeys. So, Limo King, no. I'd advocate on Hague Apostille talk instead. So, all those are corporations, okay? When you start dealing with the UN, you start dealing with getting, the corporate documentation apostilled, or, trying to take the U.S. citizen out of the jurisdiction of the U.S. You can't. It just, they allow you to incorporate it in another jurisdiction, but it's still a U.S. entity. It's still created by the state. You get to control what you create. Those who created the U.S. citizen get to control it, and they allow you to do a lot of things with it. But you can create your own trust that is so very similar to a U.S. citizen. I've done it. I've done it several times. You can get a tax identification number for it. It's all about governing yourself, and that's full circle back to what I was talking about earlier. Should you, an individual, want to take the time and effort to enlighten yourself and understand about trust law, equity, about how the court system works, how money works, all that stuff that we're not taught for a reason, and apply that to your life, and understand that you can actually govern yourself, because if you don't govern yourself, it will be done for you. and that is a maxim in law. People do not want responsibility. They don't want any type of effort put towards governing themselves. They feel very comfortable and in lock calling the government their big daddy and leaning on the state for everything, aka using Federal Reserve notes. That's a public benefit that is granted to a lot of citizens in the monopoly. It's like a monopoly board, and it's a false federal jurisdiction that's overlaid on the land, and you can play in that board game if you want to, or you can make your own board game. It just depends on how far you want to go with all this stuff. Grind until you die. I found the manual for it. For the DTC, what kind of manual are you talking about? For the what you call the eligibility questionnaire, or what else? Limo King facts. Let the dead control the dead. Yes. And that's all corporations are corpse iterations. They're dead entities. And my favorite one is the corporation soul, because it's much similar to like the birth certificate U.S. citizen is a one-man corporation. So is the corporation soul, but the corporation soul has the power of a municipal government. Whereas the U.S. citizen is a creature of the state. The corporation soul was created by a sovereign, and it is by statute recognized that a sovereign created it. And it's the only entity that I know of that you can register that doesn't give up control, because whenever you register something to the state, they get to control it. Anything. It doesn't matter what it is. If you register a corporation, if you register a gun, if you register a entity, if you register a business, if you register a house, if you register a car, any of that stuff, whatever you register to them, they get to control. And it's just part of the game. And we're not taught any of this stuff for a reason. And I've been studying for a very long time, and it took me a while to get a good grasp on. I don't know everything by any means. I know nothing. I'm just a student here with y'all. I'm just at a point in my life where I'm able to share some of the stuff that I have been enlightened through my walk and journey to be able to help guide people the best I can, on a case-by-case basis. And that's what equity is all about. You want to learn where the real power is. It's in trust and it's in equity. And that's where everybody gets lost at, because everything's in trust already, but in the public they preach and teach the duality of positive, negative, rain, snow, hurt, happiness, anger, love, a Republican, Democrat, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, but really everything's in trust. It's a triangle. You got to always look for the three: the positive, the neutral, and the negative, the natural light, spiritual light, commercial light. All right, so let me get back to grind until you die. Yes. Oh yeah, the eligibility questionnaire. Yeah, it takes some time to and be very, very careful when you're filling out the eligibility questionnaire, because if you, and I'm gonna put that on probably my next video, if you circle the wrong thing on there, you will have basically accountants with guns and agencies showing up at your door, because you are messing in a system that is not to be played with unless you know what you're doing. Grind until you are goals. The one that shows the black and green screen that shows you can deposit the BC. Oh, cool. I've heard about that, and I think a friend of mine actually mentioned that there was a. Actually, I'd love to see that manual. I've never seen it, and I'd actually like to breeze through it and put it on my website. If you have a link to it or whatever. But yeah, that's how a lot of the elites are taught all this stuff from day one, and it takes a lot of time and effort to be able to understand it. Now there are some the stuff that I know of. There are some gaps missing, and I know there's some gaps missing from it, because whenever you go through that route, you have to sign a NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. And the reason for that is the same reason that every public office is bonded and swears an oath to uphold the public, or swears an oath to the public system. It's because 99.9% of the sheep are asleep. They're very comfortable. They don't want to be awoken. I don't want to call them NPCs, but a lot of people they're very complacent. They don't want to spend any time or effort to learn anything. They just want to eat, sleep, have sex, drugs, rock and roll, party, and that's it, And so that the system has been created and established to keep everybody kind of in lock, and everybody kind of in that daze, because the average person can't handle any assets. And that's what's basically happened with the money. That's why it's all debt in the public. It's all public debt when you're dealing in the public. Um, oh, you'll send it to me in a telegram? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like I said, I'd love to breeze through it. Ankspher? Ankh Cipher. Oh, how you doing? Welcome. You look, I see some blonde hair. Thanks for joining. Yep, shaking my head. Yeah. Took me a minute to read that name right, because Ankhs, I like Egyptian, all that stuff. I love the hieroglyphs. My research has actually shown that the pyramids were poured in place, geopolymer mix. And if you look into geopolymer, it will, it's basically kind of like a cement. And the public mainstream media will teach you that we evolved, and that past civilizations were less advanced, but that's not the case. There's actually past civilizations that were more advanced, but it's been reset a few times. Copper Bolt Slavic. How many EINs do you have? I don't have any. Me, the human. I have trusts and corporations and all kinds of things that I'm involved with. That I've probably got like 7, 8, 9 different EINs that I can use for different businesses. Grind until you are gold. They were way more advanced. The Tartarians were real too. Absolutely, yeah. I love that the Russian president Vladimir was releasing some of the. He pulled out of certain things, and he started releasing a lot of the archives that showed Tartaria on everything. You can find the maps and the flags and all that. You can find the dictionaries that mention them, and this is just proof of how easily they can alter the actual history. We're watching it right in front of our eyes. They're basically trying to do away with any free energy. They don't want people to know that there's free atmospheric energy up in the ionosphere that you can just tap into. A lot of the old buildings had atmospheric gathering energy technology. One of my favorite videos. So over my life, there's a few videos that I wish I could find, and I just downloaded one of them today. And it was a guy named something Hall, and he was talking to a judge, and the judge does this beautiful dance where he turns them back into the person, because he's somewhat knowledgeable. He's trying to do the SPC process. He's trying to talk all this stuff, which is garbage, but it's an amazing video that basically shows where contracts start verbally in their offers, and you can basically the judge gives the guy a little dance and just puts him right back into his place and sends him away, and it's beautiful. I finally downloaded another one, a video that I really wish I could find. I've reached out to some of these archaeological gurus that I follow, because I don't remember exactly where I've seen it, but somebody broke past guards on a temple, and they got by him, and they looked, and on top of one of the pillars on the corner there was a sphere that was broken. And inside of the sphere, you could see the copper, and you could see the different elements inside of the ball that was for gathering atmospheric energy. And it was basically a capacitor or battery that was on inside of all the balls. Now, when you look at them from a distance, they just look like they're part of the architecture. But this guy broke past some guards. I mean, I think they had guns too, from what I remember. I can't find that video. I wish I could find that. That's like one of those ones that was golden. Like, I really wish I could find that. Anyway, sorry, I went on that little tantrum or rant. Grind of 2 die. They were way more advanced. Yes, they were. Is it Ilta? I hate when I's and L's are the same shape. So is it Iloretta Maggie? What? 860. How is the best way to build credit for entities? The best way to build credit is to start very small. Okay. If you want to, and this is all in the public. Granted, now the U.S. citizen has certain, the underwriter for the U.S. citizen has certain authority where the agents of the banks can monetize their signatures on a promissory note, which they've been given authority to do. When you're dealing with a corporation that you have created or that you have started, it depends on whether or not it's registered publicly or not. If you give up jurisdiction to get an EIN to start doing public banking with Federal Reserve notes. But if you're going that route and you want to deal in the common medium of exchange out in the public, which is debt, then you would start very small with something like, getting a TV. and then just pay it off real early, real quick. You put utilities or little things in your name and have a rotating credit, and you can build it up. And it just takes a little bit of time. Typically, corporations, they don't really give much credit or loans out for the first couple years once it's well established. And the reason for all that smoke and mirrors is not only because it's been established to keep everybody in lockstep and the public thinking that money's real and all this stuff, but the banks don't want to exhaust their resources to try to repossess anything. They don't want to go to the courts. They don't want to have to spend any time, money, or effort, which is what a high-risk person that doesn't make payments is, to them, and in that system. Even though your signature on a promissory note actually creates an asset that they can monetize to begin with, but the truth is the smoke and mirrors, the way it goes is they don't want to spending that time, effort, or any of their assets trying to get the property back, and then they sell it for next to nothing, and then they hope you pay the debt that's left. Professor Ban, what's your take on Congress enacted no-hide laws and guillotines Obama bought? Oh, I've heard about the guillotines. I have heard about those a long time ago. And the funny thing is the U.S. corporation will teach you and say thou shalt not kill, and then they go in other countries and it's all about corporate interest and greed, and they do whatever they want for the elites' top plans, because the U.S. is the military branch. It is the executive branch of the the elites. And they basically use the U.S. to do the enforcement arm between the legislative, what's the three branches? My mind's just going blank. Because you got the Vatican, you've got London, and you've got D.C., which are the three branches of the elite's kind of triangle for the executive, judicial, and legislative branches. And the U.S. is the executive branch. All right. Yeah, I have Grind. Yeah, I have it. LOL. You got to see my library, bro. That's cool. Heck yeah. So I don't know if you've been on my website. I've built a little bit of a library over the last 10 years. I've been putting together some stuff. Now, granted, a lot of the stuff is peppered with some misinformation, and I just don't have the time or effort to go through all the audio files and correct things and pause it, and I just, it is what it is. And I learned a lot from all the gurus that I studied from over the years, and I put all the pieces together, and I like breaking things down to its simple fundamentals in order to lay things to be able to build on. That's just the way I work. Wow. Okay. Grind. I'll try to find it. It's on my profile page of TikTok if you want to click on the link. You're very welcome. I wish I could say your handle. It's like Laratalmage 860. I don't know if that's foreign. Joseph William Baker, love what you're saying. Oh, thank you, much appreciated. Ankh Cypher. Oh yes, I heard about the guillotines also. I heard about them a long time ago, and I don't know if I don't think they're using those here. I think they were for somewhere else. Although, there's a lot of misinformation that can be very confusing with FEMA camps and, Walmarts and, UN stuff. If I'm not mistaken, David Strait was saying that every police station has a UN locker room mirrored or built in to allow for emergencies. And there's also, if I'm not mistaken, a previous president pledged all of the national parks to the UN. So all of the national parks here in the U.S. are basically under the protection of the UN. I meant the video about the atmospheric energy. I'll try to find the one you were talking about. Oh, you've seen that one? No way. That would be freaking awesome. Yeah, that would be. At that point, I think the only thing left would be the book. There was a book that I found that said all banks are U.S. citizens. And somebody actually found something very similar. There's a Supreme Court case that said that all banks are state citizens of the state where their headquarters is, right? So if a bank is a citizen, right? That means that citizens are also banks in my mind, right? If one plus 2 equals 3, then 2 plus 1 equals 3 also, right? So if there's Supreme Court rulings that says banks are state citizens, then state citizens are banks, which We are both. We're a state citizen and a U.S. citizen, or we can have. We have dual citizenship from the registration of the birth certificate. And that's the 14th article and amendment, I believe. It says that you are a citizen in the state where you're incorporated and a U.S. citizen. And grind. Yeah, absolutely, dude. If you can find that, it would be phenomenal. Joseph William, I'll DM you about the forgiveness based on monetary system I'm working on. Okay, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Clinton. Joseph William Baker, never heard of that. Wow. Joseph William Baker, if they can invent money, so can we. Yeah, so that's how the system works. It's basically very simply put as you can control what you create. We didn't create the Federal Reserve System. We didn't create the banks. I mean, we the people, humans did, right? At the very top, or entities that are influencing people or whatever. But so when you look at the monetary system, when it comes to banks, Congress has authorized them to monetize the signature of the authorized representative of the U.S. citizen on promissory notes, right? Then that's how they've established their games. And then what happens from there is a lot of people start getting cloudy misinformation about all kinds of things like 1099 forms, and that's why I put out a lot of my videos to try to help people, to keep people from going to jail, because they get this little bit of truth mixed with all this false information, and then they start trying to run. And that is one of the unfortunate side effects of being awake and awoke to this knowledge, is everything seems so amazing and enlightening when a lot of it is false information, and it just sounds so good and people just want to run with it. And I have watched a lot of people go to jail over the years trying to mess with the federal system, with the money system. When you start trying to engage yourself in remittances and stuff, if you're not dealing in trust, okay, if you start trying to use the IRS, which are neutral third-party accountants, you start trying to mess with forms where you don't have agreements from people that are being involved in those forms, you're committing fraud, all right? Kevin, thank you for the heart. You're much appreciated. Your gifts will be used to help others. Thank you. Joseph, yeah, they kind of invent money, but when you look at the system, thanks again. What is that for the team bracelet? Much appreciated. So when you look at the system as a whole, right? Resources are finite when you look at gold and silver, and the fiat money system that's out there, where it's just splattering out money as fast as presses can create them, even though I think the average dollar has a life expectancy of like 5 years or something like that, and then they actually shred them. They start pulling money out of circulation all the time and shredding dollars that are perfectly fine. It's just what the life expectancy has, but so long in it. And the truth is that the humans that underlie or underwrite the U.S. citizens are what and the value that they will create during their lifetime working for corporations is basically what ends up backing everything. It's all a future promise to pay, and people are betting and banking and using the fact that you're going to work a 9 to 5 until you're 60, until you can't even enjoy your life anymore, until you pass away. That's what they're trading and selling in the private. Malice, got to remove yourself from the official state-created office of person. You don't have to. You can use the state citizen in a lot of cool ways, but it's like any relationship, right? There's strings attached. I'm in a relationship. Name one relationship that you've ever been in that isn't unique, that isn't like there's some things that you'd like to change, or it's the things that you just kind of deal with because it is what it is, right? That's the same thing with the U.S. citizen. It's a relationship that you can do certain things with. It's a tool that you can use as a limited liability buffer shield should you want to engage yourself in commerce with it. It's up to you. You don't have to use that entity. You can create your own to do business with. You can create a corporation soul, which is basically the shield over a sovereign spiritual religious group that can do anything that a municipal government can do. You can make an LLC. You can register it. Get a corporate EIN to do public banking with it. You can, which is almost like it's a person. They're a person, and you can even look it up. The corporations have constitutional rights. Corporations have constitutional rights. It's what the Wizard of Oz is all about. When it's flipped, when the hurricane hit and everything flipped in black and white. That's the 1933 when the currency, the gold got taken away from the currency, the Wizard of Ounce, the gold ounce. When they took away the gold from the money, it's no longer asset backed. Everything went black and white. Everything turned into a corporation. And that's why she says, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. And the reason for that is because she's not in Kansas anymore. She's in a corporation. And then she meets her straw man, which is her U.S. citizen. She meets her tin man, which is a tax identification number. And then she meets the cowardly lion, which is the people that are now all cowardly because corporate interest and greed has taken over, and they're teaching and preaching everybody that they're worthless accidents, when that's not the truth. The truth is we are sovereigns on this earth. We're fractals of the Creator. We have unlimited power and ability, and our whole consciousness is being fought over all the time through little things like phones and computers and TVs, and you got to have this, you got to have sex with that, you got to wear this, you got to buy that, you got to do this. This stuff is getting constantly pumped into our brains and our kids and the youth. Jennifer, oh, thank you for the rose, much appreciated. Your gifts will be used to help others. Guys, this video will be on YouTube. The audio will be in my Telegram group. All of my social media is linked on my website. My website is linked on my profile page of TikTok. I have auxiliary information on my website that you can just browse around. Everything's free. You can DM me, email me, call me. I give free consultations all the time. I write everybody. It might take a few days, but I'll eventually get to you if you DM me. And I have also created a lot of playlists on my profile, Foundation, Nature, Spirit, and Commerce, on my TikTok profile to help enlighten and guide everybody. All right, Card Paul. So please, who is this? I'm not answering that. So please tell me, how do I foundationally separate myself from all corporations and reestablish myself? So you don't have to do any of that. Okay, you're already a human, you're already flesh and blood. You can use different tools to engage yourself in business, but here's what happens at the end of the day, all right? Unless you have true controlling title over the land that you are planning on trying to live on, because you are a spirit that animates a flesh frame that is kind of tied to it for a temporary spin, right? So you're going to be in this body, and depending on where you want to dwell, unless you want to be a nomad, and walk around. If you're going to have land, then you got to have your own water. You got to grow your own food. You got to have your own electricity. I like turning on the light. That's just me. I like using a coffee pot, stuff like that. If you want to use all that, then you got to either have it all, good, right? If you don't have it all, who are you going to get it from? What are you going to use to get it? Are you going to use a Federal Reserve note? Are you going to use a contractor? Because either if you're going to stay private, you're going to have to use an agent to do all the business to buffer yourself and keep you private, or you're going to have to use an entity to engage in commerce with, okay, if you're going to deal in Federal Reserve notes, because the majority, 99% of the business out there are owned and controlled by the state, and they have to go by general accounting practices, and they use Federal Reserve notes. They don't take silver or gold coins. They don't want to barter or trade with sheepskins that's what the word bucks came from. My last experience with the Cherokee Indians, bucks, everybody calls money bucks, and it comes from using buckskins. Is it worth $1? Is it $2? Is it $3? You can get that for $3. But that's where the word, the bucks came from, was using buckskins to trade. Well, guess what? A lot of the companies out there, they don't take buckskins, if you want to trade like that. But you have the unlimited ability to contract, and you can engage in any way you want out there in your business. And that's, stuff we're not taught, and it takes time and effort to try to learn all these things, but it just is what it is. Jennifer, thank you for the follow. I missed a question. Carl, 3D to 2D, but how do I go back to Kansas? Oh, I got you. Check out the playlist on my profile, right? I have a lot of them that'll help re-educate, lay some foundational groundwork for you to help kind of see your way around, because when your eyes start becoming open to everything, it can be blinding. And that's the allegory of Plato's cave, where they're all seeing shadows on a wall, and that's their reality. But really, it's just a light that's shining on stuff that's casting the shadow, and nobody even knows it or can believe it. And once somebody breaks free and they see it and it hurts their eyes, they see it, but they finally get out and start exploring, and then they try to start telling everybody and teaching everybody who's in shackles in the cave. And the people in the cave are so indoctrinated that they want to kill them and beat them, and you're a conspiracy theorist, all this stuff. This is what's happening in the world constantly, and it's been happening since the dawn of time. It is what it is. All right, Carl Malice. General Post Office Box. Oh, that was somebody else. Jennifer, thanks for the follow. Professor Ban, are the subjects we should not ask you about, such as Jews and or Talmud? Well, I really don't know a lot about those subjects. There are certain things that I can't say. I have been banned on it. It's so weird. Like, I'll say stuff that I'm like, am I going to get banned or cut? Because I've had my live cut so many times. That's one of the reasons why I record. Because I have no clue when they're just going to cut my live. I don't know who's listening. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't. There's times when I swear it's like they're going to have to cut me. Even if I'm trying to be colorable with my words. And then there's times when I'll say something that they shouldn't have cut me for, and they'll ban me. On this live. It's crazy. But I don't get it. But yeah, Jews and Talmud. I think the Talmud is. I'm trying to remember if I've read that or not. That's the text of what? Talmud is central text of Rabbinic Judaic. So I don't know if that's not the first 5 books. That's the Torah is what I'm pretty much kind of inspired in knowledge about. The Talmud, I don't know how that's in relation to the Torah, but I'd have to look into that. All right, Corey Carpenter, do you have a YouTube? Yes, I do. The YouTube is on my profile page of TikTok. If you click on the website, you'll see all my social medias. You just got to go down just a little bit, and you'll see them all. They're right there. Mind blown again. Corey, I like that knowledge. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Carl, thanks for the follow. And Talmud is written law. Yes. Oh, Power, hey, what's up? Yeah, so written law... it goes back a very, very, very long time. The written law, in one sense, is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The Bible, in one sense, is the tree of knowledge of good and evil that so many people eat from, right? And the written law has been around since ancient times because people need and want and worship graven images, okay? And I'll be real with you. There's been times when if I didn't write it down, it didn't happen. And that's a saying. Even spiritually, even though spiritually everything's subconsciously recorded in the ether and all that stuff, it's really happened. Every word that you say, everything you've ever worn, everything you've ever eaten, all that stuff, right? But, and here in the natural realm, there's been plenty of times when I pulled something out and I was like, oh yeah, I remember when I wrote that 7 years ago, 8 years ago, or something like that. And it's like, if I wouldn't have wrote it down, I wouldn't have seen it. So in the commercial realm, contracts are somewhat important. A lot of sovereigns want and need guidelines because whenever you're contracting, which is coming together of 2 sovereigns, both of them have unlimited power, unlimited ability to contract. Okay, and when you're dealing with that, the contracting is boxing in of 2 sovereigns for guidelines in order to do business, in order to exchange, in order to do commerce. It's supposed to make commerce more smooth. And one of the double-edged swords of the written law is that it can never truly be completed, okay? I know that Yahushua said that, he was the fulfilling of the law, just by loving yourself and loving your neighbor. That's it. That's all you need to know. Well, guess what? The Bible has thousands of different rules, codes, and statutes. Look at the UCC. There will never, ever be enough written guidelines, codes, and statutes and public policies because we're all sovereign and we can all find little different ways to poke our heads out of the boxes and be able to find and do different things. So there will never, ever stop being written laws created, public policies created, public statutes, because the only thing consistent is like change, right? So it just is what it is. That's the system that we're playing in. But the written law, people worship it, and they've always needed it. And even in the Bible, it mentions that the first set of tablets was broken because the people were worshiping. They couldn't even wait to worship an idol. And then the tablets are written with the finger of God, which is the written law, which came down to bind people. It's to bind people, but you can also set yourself free through it if you know how to read it properly. But the written law has been around since the ancient times because people, just like the public system, deserve and desire to be bound because they do not want to be responsible. So they enjoy the comfort of being bound, being put in boxes, being put in guidelines that they can operate in their little comfort zones, and they don't want to take any responsibility, and that's just how it has always been. So, all right, guys, I'm at the bottom. If there's any more questions, feel free to ask. It's almost been an hour. If there's no questions, we can wrap up and enjoy our Friday. I do appreciate everybody who has, wow, I'm up to 6,000 likes. Everybody who's joined, everybody who's being enlightened and enjoying this conversation and journey on knowledge. Carl Paul, so in your opinion, have our souls been stolen through unknowingly incorporating us? In my opinion, we have not been taught properly from a very early age for a reason. And it's a generational thing, okay? Because some of the elites, some of the selected bloodlines, or whatever you want to, call this jazz, they were taught all of this stuff from the beginning, okay? They know about the DTC, they know about the private assets, they know about equity, they know about trust law, they know about all this stuff. They're taught it from the very beginning. We, our parents didn't teach us. They didn't put the effort in or the time or the money or whatever to try to learn how stuff really works. They desired and enjoyed being boxed in by the U.S. corporation and just continued on down the path. They didn't do any health studies. They allow doctors to tell them what's healthy, even though they're pushing petroleum-based products that don't heal anything. They trust the education system, which is designed to indoctrinate and create capital-creating minions. And they, on and on and on. It just, so you can blame your parents, you can blame their parents, you can blame their parents, but, where does it start? It starts with you. It starts with each individual. You have to take the time and effort and knowledge and come from love and light in order to engage and enlighten yourself to an elevated vibration, to be able to understand what's really going on. All right, Awareness Daily, peace, what's up? I hope that somewhat answered your question, Carl. So we're not incorporated. There is a corporation that you can use. It's up to you whether or not you want to use that or not. That corporation has four liens on it. It has a medical lien, a state lien, a social security lien, health, like all these liens, a U.S. lien. If it's like a relationship. Like I said, there's strings attached if you're going to use that thing. Burn Eye Blue, thank you for the rose. Much appreciated. Your gifts will be used to help others. Oh, wow, what is this? Some electric hands who gave me that. Straw Stacker, what's up? How you doing? Thanks for the superhero power hands. All right, Jennifer Mullins. Hope to catch you next time. I just came in right at the end when you were discussing Wizard of Oz. Well, you can watch this video on YouTube if you want to replay it. That's why I put all my stuff out there for free. I could easily charge people $2 or $3 to join my website, and I'd be making thousands of dollars, But I try to give this stuff freely, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't want to take it is because it's like, oh, it's free, so it can't be good, But I'm not charging y'all. If you feel led to give donations, you can, but I give free consultations all the time. I give free information. I help the best I can on a case-by-case basis. I don't have all of the time in the world to hold someone's hand through all the baby steps, but I don't mind showing y'all where the water is, where the path is, where the gold is, where the knowledge is, and kind of giving you some guidance to get there. Anyway, yeah, I hope to catch you too. Grind until you are goals. The soul was sold at birth. The sole of your feet was put on the documentation. So the soul of your flesh was the print of it. Yeah, it was put on some documentation, but your actual spirit is not sold. That's why you can express the contract and dedicate your life, body, and soul to the creators, right? That's part of Yahashua's teaching. And you can pledge your life, body, and soul and receive the spirit that is holy, which is separate from the earth, and that's part of day one on the stage of enlightenment of journeys it's actually an 8-9 day walk to become one with the Creator, which we all are, right? But our spirits are not whole until we express that contract, accepting that there is stuff beyond this natural realm. Okay, you have to express unity with the Creator, and then you can receive the veil can be torn in the holiest of holy places, and you can start to administer the rightful spiritual seeds into your life to be able to grow and emanate, and through your consciousness and your abilities. Like, look, we all have gifts. We all have spiritual gifts. And the way the systems are designed, they don't want anybody to know these things. They don't want to know, they don't want people to know that they have the power of prophecy, of healing, of teaching, to be able to give sight to the blind, to be able to raise the dead, to be able to do amazing things when we all come to unity. We're all part of a spiritual union body. We're all part of a natural body. We're all part of a commercial body, right? So we are tied together in all three of the lights, and we can operate in one unit, and it is amazing what we could do if we all come together. And that is what the systems that are in place are, gates to keep people away from that system. They don't want the people at the top. There's not a lot of them, okay? And there's billions and billions of us, right? The very few at the top that control the corporations that deceive us all, they've established it that way for a reason. Jennifer, you can, the 9-day walk, those are videos on my playlist on the spiritual thing. You can watch that on my profile if you go through my spirit playlist or you can watch this video on YouTube. Grind until your goal is facts. J Mart, what type of trust do you recommend? It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Depends on what type of trust that you want. There's express trust, there's constructive trust, there's verbal trust, there's oral. You can do it oral, you can do it viva voce, indelibly in writing. You can memorialize it. It can be 1 page long, it can be 16,000 pages long. It's up to you as the author and creator. You can do whatever you want. You got goosebumps, Carl? Good. I hope I'm reaching some people. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's no more questions, this live, I hope that y'all watch it, the recap on YouTube. This audio will be in my Telegram group. Find all my social medias on my website. My website's located on my profile page of TikTok. There's videos and playlists to help re-educate all you guys. I also have a website with auxiliary information, so you can browse around. All the stuff's free. Reach out and DM me if you want. I give free consultations and guidance all the time. I hope that y'all have enjoyed this Friday, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday. And much appreciated for all the follows, the asks, the likes, and the comments. I hope to catch y'all next time. I try to go on here Friday, random times now. I can come on here a little later that I got a new office. Oh, well, it's telling me to move a puzzle piece right when I'm trying to log out. Anyway, I hope to see y'all next Friday. I try to go live every Friday, and much appreciated. Love you all. Thanks for coming on here to be enlightened. Y'all have a good one.